Ann Ulbrich Marshall has diverse experience across many service-related industries. Ann saw the need and potential for increased safety and quality of patient care at CMC. After pursuing all traditional avenues to respond to the need for improvements to no avail, Ann reached the only remaining option to resolve the serious issues. Ann then committed to organize a union with other registered nurses at Cayuga Medical Center. I hope I said that right. Please welcome Ann.
Thank you. According to publications in both U.S. News and World Reports, published in May of 2016, and a report published by Harvard Law in October of 2016, the third leading cause of death in the United States behind heart disease and cancer is medical errors. Higher number of patients per nurse is strongly associated with the administration of wrong medication or dose, an increase in pressure ulcers, and patient falls with injuries. Additionally, increasing the nurse-to-patient ratio from 4:1 to 8:1 accounts for approximately 1,000 deaths per year. Thank you. Patients on understaffed nursing units have a 6% greater mortality rate, with the risk being within the 5 first days of hospitalization. As nurses, we took a pledge that stated we will do all in our power to maintain and elevate the standard of our profession, and will devote ourselves to the welfare of those committed to our care. My story encompasses all of these issues regarding nurse-to-patient ratios, mortality rates, elevating our profession, and devoting myself to those in my care. This is my story. I worked as an ICU charge nurse and team leader at Cayuga Medical Center in Ithaca, New York. It was not uncommon for me as a charge nurse to have 3 patients and to have to go to every code in the hospital, from the ER to telemetry, where I could be gone from anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 hours, leaving my patients unattended, as the other nurses on our floor had the same 1-to-3 ratio. I witnessed firsthand how short staffing and high patient acuity can lead to patient mortality. A patient in our ICU died. It was directly related to insufficient staffing. In this case, a patient's Levophed drip ran dry while nurses were admitting a newly intubated patient from the OR with a ventriculostomy. At the time of the admission, the new OR patient needed the attention of the few nurses that we had on staff. No one heard the pump beeping complete for the Levophed drip of the critically ill patient down the hall. We were busy settling in the new patient from the OR. It wasn't until the low blood pressure monitor on the arterial line sounded on the central monitor that noted us we were alerted to the problem. By the time we rushed in and hung a new Levophed drip, the patient was in full arrest and died a few hours later. Other similar adverse events have occurred throughout the hospital. For example, a lethal dose, 4 milligrams of Ativan, was given to an infant. Tetanus vaccine was pushed IV instead of vecuronium. The wrong blood type was hung on a patient, and a man died in our ER waiting room because there was not enough ER staff to treat him. All these issues are directly related to understaffing and inexperience. And as much as the nurses caring for these patients did the best they could for the circumstances, it was not enough. These are just a few of the many adverse patient outcomes from one small community hospital. And it was that time I knew something had to be done to protect the patients against the dangers of short staffing. Nurses from our ICU and the ER met with the members of administration, voicing our concerns, and our requests fell on deaf ears. At this point, we all joined together to obtain union representation so our voices would be louder and stronger together. We knew that we could bargain for nurse-patient ratios in a contract, and then administration would have to hold up that agreement. It was a long 3-year union battle where the hospital administration implemented union busting and intimidation tactics in nurses, and especially against the union organizing leaders. Many of us were harassed, some suspended without pay, some were demoted, some of us were forced to resign or were terminated. Cayuga Medical Center did all they could to ruin careers and fight us every step of the way, putting profits and personal gain above patient safety. Administration fought us on unemployment benefits, reported some nurses to the Office of Professional Discipline. All of this culminating in the nurses and the union we were working with filing charges with the National Labor Relations Board. As of this date, we have won every NLRB decision and appeal, as well as all the unemployment benefits and the cases against us from the Office of Professional Discipline. Unfortunately, even with all our legal victories, Cayuga Medical Center succeeded in decimating the nursing staff and in turn lost many experienced nurses in the process. I was personally suspended twice, demoted, and terminated. I had people stalking me at my home, putting anti-union signs in my yard to try to intimidate me. Other nurses were fired due to their association with me. After I was terminated, I was refused interviews at many area hospitals, even though prior to my union activities and activism for patient safety, I received excellent evaluations and promotions. This, however, has not deterred me. Rather, it has made me more determined than ever to fight for patient safety and staffing ratios. Although even with all of our efforts, nothing has changed for the patients at Cayuga Medical Center. Cayuga Medical Center is still severely understaffed, and the experience level of the nursing staff is minimal. Patients there and at all hospitals are in danger due to short staffing on their units. I'm here today to continue this fight for this effort any way I can and to bring about a change for patient safety. This is a movement for better nurse-to-patient ratios. What I can say is that I know that what I'm doing is right for those in my care, and I'm doing all that I can to elevate the standard of our profession. At the end of each day, I can look at myself in the mirror and know that this has been the right thing to do. Just as with union organizing, stronger, bigger voices together, we've all gathered here in DC for the same thing, to work towards nursing ratios for better quality, safer patient care. It is time to stop putting profits over patients' well-beings. You've heard me speak about my situation in Ithaca, New York, but this is happening everywhere throughout our country. When I started my career, I know I was going to be on a journey for fighting for patients' lives, but I never dreamed that our profession would be encountering this nightmare. Wake up your government representatives, it's time to act now, and push through legislation on Bill Senate 1063 and HR 293. We need patient ratios in every state. It's not enough to be heard, we all need to act. This is what you need to do to best care for your patients. I appreciate your time and listening to my story.